Hey guys, it's Natalia, and today I'm going to be showing you guys kind of the behind the scenes of my custom order process. So if you're new to my channel, hello, hi, I'm Natalia, and I have a slow fashion brand, and I make everything to order. I have a bunch of videos on my process, and you guys can kind of see like how I work and how I do things, but I also offer custom orders, and I've kind of shown you guys a little bit behind the scenes here and there in certain vlogs. I'll show you like certain bits of whatever I'm working on, but I've never just sat down to do a full video on just one custom order, like start to finish. So I wanted to do this one because the person who I'm making it for also asked for it, so it worked out perfectly because I've been meaning to do it, and it's even better when the client actually wants it as well. So I'm very excited to be doing this, and yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, because I do have a lot of custom order requests all the time, but I don't necessarily document every single one or show you guys all of them, but I've done a lot, and I feel like maybe this is something you'd want to see, maybe not. It's not necessarily a tutorial on how to make what I'm doing, but you kind of see how I do it, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to show you like step by step, this is how you make it, but you'll see it all, and you see kind of my process and how it works. And then if you're an experienced enough seamstress or pattern maker or whatever, then you can probably figure it out for yourself as well. But that is what we're gonna be doing today. So step number one is obviously coming up with the design itself, and we've already gone through that process. It's usually just like emailing back and forth. They'll give me some inspiration pictures or just kind of give me a sense of what they want, and then I will go ahead and design some things out. So these are the inspo pictures that she gave me. They're very like running through the meadows and very, I don't know, just like makes me want to run around and romanticize my life kind of vibe. And these are the designs that I came up with and that I sent her. The color, I never actually like choose a legit color. I just kind of put whatever in, so that doesn't really matter because fabric choice comes after. But these are the ones that I sent her, and then this was the lucky winner that we chose. So that's the dress that I'm going to be making that you guys will see the process of. As far as the fabric, it actually came really easily because I ordered this one fabric for my actual shop, like things that I want to make up in an upcoming collection. I still don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I bought all of it, so I don't know. We'll make something out of it soon. It's this fabric that I showed you guys in a vlog back in December in Vlogmas, and it's really pretty. It is like, I don't know if you can see that, but it has a very slight floral pattern to it. So it's definitely that same kind of like running through the meadows kind of vibe that we're going for. So that's the one that she ended up liking, which is really nice because I had already purchased it at that point. So this is what we're gonna be using. This video is probably gonna span over the next few days just because I never just like sit down and make it all in one day. But I'm gonna start pattern making it today, and then we'll get to the actual sewing part later on. So pro tip on being efficient is to always use what you already have. So when it comes to making custom orders, I already have so many patterns made for all these different types of things that I've made. I keep every single pattern I've ever made. So I can honestly base most of the designs that I create off of the patterns I already have. For example, this dress that I'm making, I'll put the picture up here again for reference, has again that kind of cowl neck that the slip dress that I made back in the holiday collection had. So I use that pattern to recreate that. Obviously the bottom of it is different, so I just use the top of it, but it saves me so much time in having to like redrape it or anything. I just have to redo the pattern, kind of adjust to the sizing, but she kind of fits perfectly into one of the sizes I already had, so that is kind of where I'm going with that. And that saves you so much time on just pattern making in general, is just to keep your patterns and keep kind of basic patterns that you can alter really easily. I think that's my best tip on efficiency and just being able to get things done a lot faster. For a full skirt, I would normally do some sort of like circle skirt pattern and make a big giant circle, but because the fabric that I'm using has a bit of a gradient pattern and all of the flowers are kind of on the bottom edge, and I want to make sure that the bottom edge of the dress has all of them. If I were to do a circle, it would not be even. So I'm gonna do it in panels, so that is why I have made kind of a triangular patterned panel type thing. Basically the way I like to do this isn't like some specific formula or anything, but I'm gonna have 6 panels on mine, so it's gonna be 3 front, 3 in the back, and you just kind of take the waist measurement and divide it by 6 to figure out what each of those has to be up here at the top of that, and then obviously make sure to add seam allowance to all of it. And then the bottom kind of just depends on how big you want it to be and how much you want it to actually circle around. I kind of just guesstimated what looks about right. I might add more later, might not, but yeah, you kind of just make a big triangle, put them all together, and makes a circle. Ta-da! When it comes to fabric, fabrics, it's really important to know what you're working with. The way you cut your fabric is really important as well, and I think that's something that a lot of people overlook in the beginning of sewing and just learning how to do all of this. Every single fabric has a grain line which you're supposed to cut things on. You can also cut things on bias, like this specific top is going to be on bias, so instead of putting it like upside down normally on the fabric, it's going to go diagonal, because every single fabric on its perfect 45-degree angle has a bit of stretch, and it lays kind of nicer than if you do it at the normal like up and down or side kind of angle or grain. So that's something that you should keep in mind and look into if you have not ever thought of that, but you're sewing and stuff. But for this specific fabric, because it has a pattern, this pattern does have a direction. Some patterns don't, but if you think about stripes, obviously you want to make sure all of the pieces are going like the same way, unless you purposefully want them to go opposite ways like this. But you have to think about the way you're cutting out your pieces when you are cutting out fabric like this. I didn't think this one would have much of a pattern, but it does. All of the flowers are kind of like going upwards this way, so I need to make sure that all of my pieces kind of fit that. I can't just like put pieces one like that and the other like this, because then you're going to be able to see that the pattern does not flow well together. So unfortunately that means that you kind of waste more fabric or use up more fabric, because there's a lot more empty space, because you can't just try to put it together in the most like convenient way possible. It has to all be in a very specific way. So that's the only downside to kind of patterns and that type of fabric, but obviously the result is really beautiful, so like that's fine. And I'm a zero waste designer, so nothing actually goes to waste, so it's actually totally fine. We will repurpose it in some sort of way, so that's not really a problem, and I don't really mind doing that. So that's just like a heads up with fabrics. If you've never thought of that, or if you've never kind of, I don't know, given the thought to that, then here it is. Now you know. My pieces, the next thing I like to do to kind of keep things professional is to finish off the edges of all of my pieces. That way it doesn't fray as I'm sewing or as I'm kind of working with it, because especially with these type of like transparent fabrics, sometimes they do fray a lot and it gets really annoying, and they'll start kind of like sizing down the more they fray. So to prevent that, I like to always just start by overlocking all of my edges. If you don't have an overlock or a serger, you can do it with a normal machine, just a zigzag stitch. You can also just use like fray check to put on it. There's many ways to do it, but it just kind of keeps it clean and makes sure that nothing gets moved around too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And now it's time to sew. There's not much to the process that I could give you, because this isn't necessarily a tutorial on how to make this dress, but now I just start kind of piecing everything together. I'm also going to be putting lining into this, and since I don't have that just yet, I'm going to kind of piece together what I can without the lining, and then wait till the lining gets here and I cut that out, and then I can finish it up. So I'm just going to start piecing the skirt together. I don't know if this counts as a pro tip or if you guys already do this, but if you're not already pressing all of your seams as you sew, you're doing yourself a disservice, because A, it looks so much cleaner and nicer, and B, it's just kind of easier to work with. It makes it easier for afterwards when you have to iron it out anyway. You already have most of it ironed. So it's not like the most essential thing, but it does help and it does make everything look nicer. So I'm gonna go ahead and press some of the seams that I've already sewed. Okay, so I have my lining all put together now, and here are all of my pieces. You probably can't see it too well, but here is the skirt, here is the lining of the skirt, Here is the back piece, and here is the front bodice piece. So the way that I've done it is that I did the full lining of the skirt separate and the actual skirt separate. So these are completely separate right now, and we're gonna put those together in a minute. And then I have put together the lining for the top, both like the front and back of it. And I only attached it at the top so that we have a nice like clean edge already and we don't have to hem it. The rest will be attached later. So that's kind of where we're at with it. I'm gonna go ahead and attach the skirts together, and the way that I'm gonna do it is so that it's all enclosed and all of the seams are on the inside, so it's all clean and it'll be like one full piece instead of like a skirt and lining kind of like separated at the bottom. So I'm gonna sew together the hem and up the sides and whatnot so that it is perfectly put together and there's no seams on the outside. So that's kind of the vibe we're going with that. And then we'll come back to the top and also putting in the zipper. I'm gonna do a side zipper and also the straps that I have yet to cut out, but we're gonna do those too and then we will be done. So let's put these together. So now that I have it all put together, I'm going to reserge the edges so that they are perfectly clean and perfectly put together, because obviously there's like differences between the two sides, so I want it to look super clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and serge all those edges. So I failed to mention this and I feel like I'm going to get criticized for it, but it's not the fact that I didn't line up the seams perfectly. It was the fact that like when I laid it flat and pinned it together, there was a bit of differences between the two layers. So I just wanted it to be completely flat, because that's just like sometimes when you cut things, they don't cut out perfectly. So one was like a little longer than the other. So that's why they were off, not because I didn't line them up perfectly while sewing. It was just because when I put them flat and pinned it together, there was a bit of difference anyway. So don't roast me on that, that's why. And of course, ironing things out is super important, so I'm gonna go ahead and iron this out so that all of the seams are very flat and that it looks nice and not super poofy, because it kind of does poof up when you put two things together like that. But we're gonna iron it out really nice and it's gonna be a nice clean edge. So now that I have the skirt fully put together, you can tell that there is the little slit right here as well. So that's all done. It's time to put together the actual top part. So what I'm gonna do is move that out of the way. So I have both my top parts and I'm going to put together one of the sides and leave the other side open for the zipper opening. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it together like this so that all of the seams are again facing on the inside within the lining and not any on the outside. So I'm gonna put these two together and then we'll just have to put in the zipper and do these straps and we will be done. So now I'm going to make the straps of the dress, and I'm just going to use one of my rulers that I have. This is an 18 by 2 inch ruler. These are perfect. I use this exact measurement for so many things. So I'm just going to literally use that whole entire measurement of the ruler to cut out 4 different straps, because it's 2 on each side so that it ties up at the top. So I'm going to do 4 of these, cut them out, and then sew them and attach them to the dress. The top part pretty much done. I have all of the straps in on both the front and the back. Obviously it's still open on one side because that's where the zipper is going to go, but I have all that ready. I top stitched it all in place, so it's all nice and ready. And now it's time to attach the top to the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and do that so that I can put in the zipper on the side and we'll literally be done, which is incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and pin the actual fabric to the actual fabric and then the lining to the lining, and then have it be in like 2 separate seams, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin that. So I have the whole dress pretty much put together at this point. I like roughly tied these up so you could see it. Obviously the side is still open and I just have to put the zipper in, so that is literally what we're gonna do. And as soon as the zipper's in, we're gonna be completely done because it's already hemmed since we did it with the lining, and there's nothing else to do after that. So pretty exciting. Just gonna put the zipper in and then we will see what it looks like. She's roughly the same measurements as me. I think she has like an inch more on like chest than me, and like she's very tall compared to me, but other than that, we're roughly the same size, so I can just try it on to kind of see what it looks like. But very excited. It's looking super cute, so I'm gonna put the zipper in and then we'll be done. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more of these kind of like behind the scenes of the custom orders, or just like make a custom order with me kind of deal, because I definitely have a lot I could do it with, and I just would like to know if that's something you guys are interested in. I can definitely do that, because even though they're not necessarily tutorials, like I can teach you little things along the way for each of them and little tips and tricks and stuff. So I think that would be kind of fun. So let me know if you guys want to see that. I will definitely do more. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!